He. Wow. I fear I've created a monster by introducing Sneeg to never forget. Yippee crime time.
Yeah. Who died today? Dick Cheney. Know nothing about the guy. Oh, it's not.
Three moths woe.
Gosh. I mean, he basically used Bush's administration to be the president himself and kind of just told Bush what to do and essentially got a lot of people killed because of the Middle East conflicts he caused. But get an eye booger. Cool. He basically started the Middle Eastern conflict, yeah. You're astonished people don't know who Dick Cheney is? I mean, to be fair, I barely know who he is. So made a lot of people's lives really bad. Killed a lot of people, created a lot of prejudice. So, yeah. Good to see everybody. Stream starts a little earlier than we're hanging out with Joe Bart and the boys. So, yeah. We basically get to hang out. We get to watch some true crime or just react in general, I guess. So that's cool. I don't know how long we'll watch stuff. I don't know. We'll probably go like 2-ish hours. It depends on how long it takes and what we watch, but see a video from Stay Awake in my sub feed that looks solid. What?
How are we feeling tonight, freaks?
I'm tired, bro. I've been watching Darcy all day. Oh yeah, the online gamer thing. Yeah, we should watch that one. What this?
Wow, 35 moths.
Me right now.
That's a lot of moths. They're eating holes in my fucking clothes. Please help.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm tired, bro. I've just been hanging out with Darcy all day, so I'm like kind of.
Hi, freaks. Hope you are well. I voted for the first time today. Yahoo!
Congrats.
Had a bad day, but I'm not on my period, so I can't project my cramps at you. Have my stubbed toe instead.
Look at him.
Wowie, hey guys. Hi, freaks and streamer. Excited for crime time on the clock. Hope all are well. Eek, react time.
Aww.
Also fork you Sneeg for making me want to major in criminology when I literally graduate
did not make
next
you do anything.
semester. Sobs. Take my $5.
God damn. I might need to. I'm gonna make a little coffee in my Keurig. Fuck, man. I've just been kind of sitting here existing for 10 minutes. Feel like I need to decompress a little bit just because I've been watching my daughter all day, which is like, you know, not an issue. It's just when you're, if you're doing it the entire day, I just feel like I've needed to sit here and like, so. It's great to see everybody. I had a fun day hanging out with Darcy. I'm tired. We're playing GTFO in like 2-ish hours. So means we get to do some reacting in the meantime, which is great. I got 3 videos pulled up. We'll see where that goes. Welcome to the React video stream, etc. I don't know. Excuse me. We're going to be watching...
Sneeg might be cis, but he has the heart of a normal person.
Okay. We're going to be watching some videos today. Most of these come from my React channel on my Discord. If you don't already know, if you have any videos you think would be cool, true crime or not, you can go into the Discord and suggest them. That's where we get most of what we watch, because I like watching stuff that you guys also like to watch. So that's it. If you're watching on YouTube, this was streamed. We'd love to have you over at the Twitch stream any day. I stream most days. So we'd love to have you. That's it. And sub to the YouTube if you haven't. I don't have a small coffee mug up here. Shit. I actually for sure need a cup of coffee. I need to make one. I feel very just like... Okay. Be right back. I'm gonna go let Boomer out because he's begging me. And I'm gonna grab some coffee mugs to have up here for Keurig coffees, because I've needed to bring my coffees up. Hello,
YouTube. Welcome to Shadow Reeks. I don't know who this dork, but I guess he is Tagalog. I don't know who this is doing, but he is still in you.
Okay. Be right back.
Man, 2 years life, it's good to have something chill after a day of excitement.
Is Shadow okay? Anyways, the World Changer server has been pretty fun. Did you guys get Elytra yet?
Hello chat and streamer. Yesterday, I had my boobs removed, and I'm really glad you're streaming cause I'm super bored today lol.
Just a little glimpse into my dark, twisted mind. Anyway, we got some coffee. Let's watch some shit, huh? All right. This seems...
Finally a sneak crime stream I can catch live. It's been a while, let's go.
How does this... Okay, hold on. I mean, there it is. All right. First video of the day. We're going to be watching something from Stay Awake called Online Gamer Gets Played by Detectives.
11 whole moths. Where are they coming from? I can't get them to stop anyway, almost a year. Fuck you stinky / silly.
All right. Let's watch.
Ricky, your gamer tag is dark boop, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
What's a boop?
What's a...
The events of this video can best be described using just one word: shocking. But before we get down to the nitty-gritty, we need to start 9
Wowie.
In 2002, ex-Marine Doug Stewart went on
Video
a blind
quiet.
date with a woman
No, it
named
ain't,
Venus
bruh.
McComb. They rushed to the altar and were married 4 days later. In no time, they had kids together. Since Venus was the breadwinner between the two, she had little time for the kids.
What about now?
Because of this, she urged Doug to find a better job, but he disregarded her requests and spent most of his time playing Xbox. These issues
Very
escalated
cool.
throughout 2009 after the family moved to Newport News, Virginia. Venus then decided that enough was enough. In February of 2010, she up and left with the kids and moved back to her parents' home in Colon, Michigan, leaving Doug in the apartment in Newport News. 2 months later, on April 26, 2010, a 911 call was received by the Colon Police Department. The caller was Venus's father, Larry McComb.
She's just not there? I mean,
Yeah,
is there a
she's not
vehicle
here.
missing or anything?
The vehicle is here, her kids are here, and she is gone.
Okay. Have you tried calling her or anything?
Yeah, we can't get hold of her.
The last time Venus's mother saw her was at 6 a.m. while leaving for work from their Michigan home. Venus was dressed in a gray shirt, pajama bottoms, and brown Crocs. 2 hours later, Larry was awoken by his rambunctious grandkids making noise in the living room. He quickly realized that they were unsupervised and that Venus was missing. He urgently dialed 911. Michigan State Trooper Aaron Steensma promptly arrived at the residence. His initial observations painted a disconcerting picture. The gravel in the driveway had been disrupted, as if a struggle had taken place. And on the tank beside the driveway was a footprint, presumed to be Venus's. Also, on the ground was a pink hair tie and the plastic wrapping for a blue 8x10 tarp from Walmart. This wrapper had a fingerprint on it, which was sent in for testing. Through questioning Venus's parents, Steensma learned about Venus and Doug's tumultuous relationship, which recently culminated with Venus winning custody of their children. Since Doug lost the custody battle, detectives were concerned that he may have been involved in Venus's disappearance. So
really?
They were eager to speak with him. They were able to reach him via cell phone later that night. They asked about his whereabouts earlier that day, and Doug said that he was in Virginia running errands. One of these errands was dropping by Wilson & Wilson, his attorney's office, to make a payment early in the morning. Sure enough, authorities spoke with the secretary and another employee at Wilson & Wilson, and they confirmed that Doug had come in to make a cash payment that morning. They even described Doug's appearance, which was later confirmed with surveillance footage from Doug's apartment building. He was wearing a baseball cap, a hoodie, and sunglasses. This placed Doug 11 hours away from where Venus disappeared in Michigan. It seemed that Doug had a solid alibi, but police weren't ruling him out just yet.
Thanks for using my Madrinas code, bro. Why do I have a feeling the Xbox is going to be involved here? Is he going to hire somebody to do it through Xbox?
They applied for a search warrant of Doug's apartment and
Ain't
truck,
no way.
and while they waited for the green light, a different search was taking place in Michigan.
Ain't
A search continues
no way.
tonight for a Colon Township woman missing for 2 days now.
News had broke about Venus's disappearance, and dozens of volunteers, along with a helicopter and search dogs, spent hours upon hours assisting in the search efforts.
Investigators searched for hours today looking for any sign of Venus Stewart. Acres upon acres of fields, briars, overgrowth, and scorching heat.
It's very thick, briars. It's very hot in there. There's no wind in there. Right where those guys are at.
Dozens searched all day for any sign of Venus Stewart.
While the search took place, Venus's parents were left in shambles, only able to guess what may have happened to their daughter.
It's numbing. You go from numbness to hysteria.
Around 7 Monday morning, the McCombs' daughter, Venus Stewart, vanished. Venus was staying with her parents after leaving her husband in Virginia. Her father says he immediately noticed what looked like the remnants of a scuffle in the gravel of his otherwise perfect yard.
You can see there's a footprint or two, and my daughter's footprint was up on the tank here.
Police located Venus's estranged husband.
Did they look
Douglas
in the
Stewart,
tank?
in Virginia, but didn't find Venus. Missing for 3 days leaves her parents fearing the worst.
So they figure he parked his car there, he snuck behind the wood pile and waited for her, and when she came out to put the mail in the mailbox, he grabbed her. She didn't make it to the house.
She was the best mommy in the world. And I know she would never leave on her own. There's no way she would ever leave on her own.
Her parents were convinced that Doug was responsible for Venus's disappearance. The spotlight on Doug was coming from all angles, and to make things worse, the media even dug up this police report from 2008.
Hate it.
24-hour News 8 obtained court documents that detail the couple's tumultuous relationship. In 2008,
What's with
Venus requested a
What's with everybody in using the word tumultuous, man? Like, I feel like every time there's like a couple that has like a tumultuous relationship, they use tumultuous. No synonyms near it. No rocky relationship, no
27
turmoil.
months. Feels like a big number.
Not even the
For
word
instance,
difficult.
27 is a lot of moths.
Okay. Lot of moths.
Personal protection order saying, quote, I am scared to death. Every day I live in constant fear. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering when he will appear again.
And 7 days after this discovery, a letter from Venus was found hidden in a drawer.
Tensions mounting as a note left behind by Venus Stewart is discovered in her home. That paper containing disturbing details of abuse.
Detailing allegations of molestation against Doug Stewart, Venus's estranged husband, involving one of their daughters.
Doug could not catch a break. Not only were the police honing in on him as a suspect, but his image in the court of public opinion was looking rough. And to top it all off, Doug was simultaneously fighting to regain the custody of his children.
Well, now he ain't gonna get shit. He ain't gonna get shit now.
Ensued.
Oh, we're just horrified, you know.
Doug Stewart, Venus's estranged husband, now in the midst of a legal snarl, attempting to gain custody of his kids. On the phone with her father, Larry, he tells us before Venus disappeared, she was afraid.
Now, Venus was so scared that when she came back to Michigan, she took out a will 3 weeks before she was abducted. And it said in her will that if anything happened to her, she wanted the children to go to me and my wife.
The McCombs say they're hiding the children for their safety. Larry tells us a custody hearing is scheduled for May 24th,
That
and
is
that the
so,
kids
so,
and Venus
so
will have
sad.
representation from the state.
Come on, Doug, where is she? Where's Venus? Come on, Doug. Yeah, you're a disgrace to the Marines, buddy. Yes, you are. Sure.
Sneers
Damn.
and jabs from a riled
Get
up
'em.
crowd tonight. Their anger directed at Doug Stewart, the only person of interest in his wife Venus's disappearance. Stewart in court today for a custody hearing involving their 2 children.
Pray for Venus!
Protesters clutching signs, a backlash against the possibility of Doug Stewart gaining custody of his kids.
We want the public to be aware that we do not want Doug to have those children.
A Child Protective Services worker took the stand and answered questions, citing concerns with placing the children in Doug's care following allegations from one of the girls of inappropriate sexual contact, even though charges were never
How is this
filed
even a
in
debate?
connection with those allegations.
How is this even a debate? She had a will 3 weeks before her disappearance saying that her parents get custody. There's no... I mean, I guess he could attempt to, but it's kind of like...
A final decision was not met during this hearing, so the children would continue to be in the care of Venus's parents.
Relieved. I feel real relieved. That's about all I have to say.
Although her parents won this battle, the war raged on and another custody hearing was scheduled for a few weeks later. Despite being accused of murdering his wife and potentially losing custody of his kids, Doug maintained an innocent demeanor, as portrayed in this phone interview.
Now that the timeline has gone so far, I'm getting very worried and very concerned. I don't know what is next, to be honest with you. I'll just keep watching the news and pray and hope for the best. I don't know. I pray for my children every night. I pray for their mother, and I pray for the McComb family that they get some truth on this, and
You don't want it?
we can figure out where Venus is.
You don't want it? You don't want the truth?
search warrant for Doug's apartment and truck had been approved, so the detectives showed up at Doug's residence in Virginia. Doug was as cooperative as can be. Unfortunately, there was no sign of Venus in the apartment. However, when searching his mess of a truck, they discovered a Walmart receipt for the purchase of a shovel, a pair of gloves, a cap, and an 8x10 tarp.
For the activity of the activity that requires that, you know. the activity of I mean, I guess you could argue gardening in some way because you can use tarps and shovel, like there's some gardening there. I don't know.
Counterpart
Idiot.
a plastic wrapper found in Venus's parents' driveway. The receipt was from a Walmart in Van Wert, Ohio, which happens to be en route between Newport News,
God,
Virginia,
you're
and Florida,
dumb.
Michigan. The date was smudged, but investigators were able to find the purchase in the Van Wert Walmart's transaction records.
Yeah, you can just
They determined
subpoena
that
Walmart.
The purchase took place the evening before Venus's disappearance.
Oh,
this
my
seemed like a huge
God.
breakthrough. But how could it be significant if the secretaries and surveillance footage confirmed that Doug was in Virginia at the time of the disappearance? The detectives had a theory that someone had posed as Doug, dropping off the envelope of money in a disguise, while the real Doug committed the crime in Michigan. As far-fetched as it seemed, investigators refused to leave any stone
I honestly thought it'd be
They
the
went back
opposite.
to Wilson & Wilson to question the staff once again. This time, they described Doug in more detail. He was wearing a baseball cap, a hoodie with the hood pulled up, and large aviator sunglasses. A concealing outfit like this typically isn't a fashion
What is happening?
statement, but rather a strategic way to prevent others from identifying you. And if that was this man's intention, it worked. Neither of the Wilson & Wilson employees could say with 100% certainty whether it was Doug or someone posing as Doug.
Well,
if this really wasn't
that's
Doug,
enough cause.
and instead was someone posing as him, that meant that Doug had an accomplice. And if there was an accomplice, Doug would have had to communicate with them somehow. So detectives started looking into Doug's cell phone records. 4 days prior to Venus's disappearance, Doug was making a suspicious amount of calls, between 7 to 15 a day, to one phone number in particular. Then, there is a gap in the records indicating that Doug's phone was turned off on the night before Venus disappeared and turned back on the following night. As soon as the phone was turned on, more calls were made to the same suspicious phone number. Authorities were quickly able to trace this number to a 20-year-old student from Bear, Delaware, named Ricky Spencer. Authorities were struggling to understand why a 29-year-old ex-military man was making so many calls to a young
29? That guy
Delaware.
looked.
So, investigators went to Delaware to question the kid.
Hold the fucking phone. Where is this? This guy is my age?
Disappearance. Stewart in court today for a custody hearing involving their 2 children.
Pray for Venus!
Why a 29-year-old ex-military man was making so many calls to a young college kid from Delaware. So, investigators went to Delaware to question the kid himself.
How do you know Doug Stewart?
Through Xbox Live.
Through Xbox Live?
Ricky explained that for the past year and a half, he and Doug had been virtual best friends, playing online shooters together day in and day out.
Me when I'm
And
gaming?
on one occasion, Doug even invited Ricky to stay over at his house during his spring break. Ricky agreed, and the two met in person for the first time on April 1st, 2010.
We were trying to go to the clubs, but I'm 21 yet, so...
Oh, you're not 21 yet?
No.
Okay, okay.
Rat.
And then we played Xbox. I mean, he was a chill guy, but it was just awkward, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's like close to his 30s, and I'm like in my 20s.
Right. When's the last time you saw him?
And you went, why?
My spring break, it might be in the beginning of April.
Okay.
Based on Ricky's phone records, detectives figured that this was a lie. The morning before Venus's disappearance, Ricky was in Delaware, where he turned off his phone directly after a call with Doug. Then, the next morning, he briefly turned his phone back on, pinging a phone tower just north of Doug's apartment. He then turned his phone back off. The next time his phone was powered on, he was back on his phone in Delaware. As the interview continued, Ricky...
How do people, like, know... just not enough? You know what I mean? Like, they know just not enough. Like, they know to turn their phone off, but for some reason this guy's like, I'm going to turn it back on very quickly right where I'm supposed to not. What? What do you mean?
He recounted Doug notifying him of Venus's disappearance.
5-second rule.
He was like, Ricky, she's missing. I'm like, what, dude? Because he was telling me, like, she does weird stuff, like weird stunts.
Ricky had already lied during this interview, so the detectives were hesitant to believe anything that he said. To increase the pressure, they proceeded to lay their cards on the table.
I'll be blunt.
Weird stunts.
Doug Stewart abducted and killed his wife. Okay. We also know that somebody went into a legal office down there in Newport News, Virginia, to pay a legal bill for him. We also know that you were down in that apartment.
Yeah, I wasn't. Wait, for what?
On the 25th of April. And the 26th.
Of April? No, that was only on spring breaks.
Ricky would not admit to being in Virginia at the time of the disappearance.
Don't matter, bud. You already got called.
After learning the public details of the investigation, he had distanced himself from his virtual pal, Doug.
I googled his name again, and I saw some weird like they found like a receipt or something from a different state close to Michigan, and I was like, what the? And at that point, I was like, I'm not talking to this guy. That's weird.
The detectives played to Ricky's emotions, showing sympathy and support for him in the
oh yeah, guys, you just turn off your phone whenever.
You're probably thinking, wow, am I going to get in trouble for this? What am I going to do? I didn't know any of this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It is, I know. And I don't think you were involved in the planning of that. I think it was more him. And you just kind of got caught up in something. You realized after the fact, whoa, this is way over my head. I don't want any part of doing this anymore. You got a couple sisters, right? Okay. What if this happened to your sister? You close with them?
Yeah, I'm pretty close with them.
What if somebody took your sister?
Be upset.
You'd be upset, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This is what's going on with
wow,
Venus.
profound.
Right now, we need closure to this. We really do. You need to help us with that because
I think it'd be a little sad.
Part of this game now, but not our main concern whatsoever.
And like Shane said, if we thought that you were a main player in this, do you really think we'd be dealing with you?
Mr.
Like
Empathy.
Absolutely not. So my first question to you is, did he tell you he was going to kill her before this happened, before you went down there?
Cow a bummer.
Take care of business up in Michigan.
What was the business he said he needed to take care of?
Go see his wife.
Okay. Did he say why?
To hide her.
To hide her.
Ricky finally opened up to the detectives and admitted everything. Doug was currently staying with his parents in Michigan for his ongoing custody battle. So following this interview, police tracked him down and arrested him outside of Thrasher's pit stop.
Here in Fulton, where everyone seems to know everyone else, Doug Stewart's arrest has sent shockwaves through his small hometown, especially for those who have known Doug's family for years. Mike Ducat goes back 20 years with Doug Stewart's family
Mike?
And doesn't think
That guy's... Both of the people you see on the screen right now are 29. He looks 40. Minimum. Why does he look 40? The evil. Yeah,
Doug
fair.
did it. He saw Doug's father just
It's
this
just like-
morning.
I imagine it's hard on him seeing this happen.
You think this guy's 29?
But he's strong. He's a strong individual, and he'll get through this too.
But Doug's parents are not sharing their feelings with our cameras.
Yeah, what the hell?
But he's hard on him.
Think
What
Doug
is he
did it.
wearing?
Saw Doug's father just this morning.
Is it? I think it's supposed to be a lanyard, but he has it behind him, so the mic's on. What?
Goes back 20 years with.
What the hell's happening? I'm just. It's getting. It looks weird the more I look at it. Does he have cigarettes in his pocket?
Ducat goes back 20 years with Doug.
Cigarettes in his pocket, lanyard backwards with the mic on it.
Stewart's family and doesn't think Doug did it. He saw Doug's father.
Hands behind his back.
Morning.
I imagine it's hard on him.
Earring in his ear.
But
drippy.
He's a strong individual, and he'll get through this too.
But Doug's parents are not sharing their feelings with our cameras.
I wonder why.
Sorry, you're trespassing. We've got it posted. Thank you for coming. We have no comment.
All I heard happened was that he came into town and went over to the store to shop, and then the police swarmed him in the store and slapped the cuffs on him and dragged him away. There was no incident at all. You know, he was, like I said, very cooperative.
Although Venus was still technically a missing person, police declared her dead and charged Doug with the first-degree murder of his wife.
What'll happen will happen. We can only hope that truth wins out. That's all we can hope for. It's easy to make accusations.
Surely they checked the tanker that her footprint was on, right?
Arrest, about 50 people attended a vigil that was held for Venus.
We come together to honor Venus and her family. Such a beautiful young woman, a mother, a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister, an aunt, a niece, a cousin, and a friend.
With candles and heavy hearts.
At a time like this, it's impossible to understand why, isn't it? I mean, you just can't understand why these things happen.
Wearing purple and blue ribbons in honor of domestic and child abuse victims, friends and family of Venus Stewart joined together Sunday to pray for the
I do that
missing
right
mother
outside of the
too,
precinct
and
he
her
was
family
detained
left
in.
behind.
It just felt awesome that the community was here to support us and how much they loved and cared for us and our family.
About 8 months later, in February of 2011, Doug's trial began.
People of the state of Michigan versus Douglas Stewart.
Even while facing life in prison,
Still
Doug
no
remained
body,
cool,
huh?
calm and collected in the courtroom. The prosecution's opening statement outlined the abundance of evidence that they would present throughout the trial. They were certain that Doug had killed Venus and were convinced that by the end of the trial, the jury would be confident as well.
Douglas Stewart.
29.
Caused the death of Venus Stewart.
Doug's defense team
Baffling.
refuted this sentiment, saying that with no eyewitness placing Doug in Michigan, no body, and nothing else to prove that Venus was dead, the idea that Doug had killed her was merely
They don't have the body now.
Guesswork. If you think about anything in this case, I want you to think about the word guesswork. I believe at the end of this case, the prosecutor is going to ask you to guess.
Once the opening statements wrapped up, the prosecution began by calling
And I'm
several
gonna
key
waggle
players
my
to the stand,
fingies.
starting with Michigan State Police Trooper Aaron Steensma. Steensma described his first observations upon arriving at the scene and the distressed parents that awaited him.
I pulled in the driveway and I was met by
What a guy,
female
bro.
who was hysterical and crying.
And
I was met by a female.
She told me that he took her.
Speaking of Venus's parents, they were next up to testify. The prosecution aimed to show the jury that they were caring and stable individuals who raised their daughter to be a good mother herself.
Was it odd that your daughter would have
This
left her
courtroom
children
is so
alone?
small, bro.
It was more than
What the
odd.
hell?
It was something that would not happen.
Following Larry's testimony, prosecutors called a security guard from the Van Wert Walmart to help introduce the surveillance footage.
Why
as
is the
evidence.
projector in
this
his
footage,
way?
Doug can be seen casually walking around in his eye-catching Hawaiian shorts, buying the same items that were on the receipt. The Walmart employee who had eye-catching Hawaiian shorts.
What is this outfit, bro? A striped black and white dress shirt and Hawaiian shorts? What is that?
Buying the same items that were on the receipt.
What
The
is
Walmart
that
employee
fit,
who had helped Doug
dude?
that day, a woman named Donna.
Are you trying to... Like, what? I was about to say, yeah, that's a crime in and of itself.
Stifler was also called to the stand to describe her encounter.
Most people weren't wearing shorts at that time. I said, "Welcome to Walmart. Can I help you?" And
I guess
the
it was
first
winter.
thing I think he asked for was lime.
Not this line.
Bro.
This line.
No
Covering a body
fucking
with lime
way.
is well known to aid
Decaying process, yeah.
Decomposition
Yeah.
while covering up the horrible stench. Unfortunately for Doug, Walmart wasn't selling the lime that he was looking for.
Oh my
so he groaned in
God, you're a
disappointment and went
fucking
on with his
idiot.
shopping, ending back up at Donna's cash register
There's
minutes
no way.
Remember what that person bought.
A tarp, shiny shovel, silver, duct tape, gloves.
Do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yeah.
And he
Was that-
also asked
Yes.
for lime.
Could you point him out and describe what he's wearing?
I'm so nervous. It's up there.
What is he wearing?
A white vest.
This wasn't the only shady shopping that Doug did. This footage was obtained by investigators after finding a suspicious purchase from Doug's credit card transaction history.
Okay.
Before he left Michigan, he stopped by this store to buy a track phone. Track phones are prepaid wireless cell phones, or in other
burner.
words, a throwaway phone. These devices are usually untraceable unless a
Nope.
card is used to buy one.
Yup.
In this instance, a digital footprint is left behind, and
Fucking
the track
idiot.
phone's unique ID can be traced through GPS like any other phone. Detectives were able to track Doug's movements and place him less than 7 miles away from where Venus vanished around the time of the disappearance.
Stupid. Like I said earlier, like just stupid enough. Like he's smart enough to know about a burner. He's smart enough to know about buying a burner, but he doesn't know how burners work. So he's stupid enough to not pay in cash, and he leaves a fucking tracking number so they can match, because like it's not, they can look up a bunch of burners, but if a place is selling them, there's going to be like 50 of them, and they're going to have so many numerical codes, they're not going to be able to distinguish whose is whose. But because he specifically pays with a card, they can match the card to the burner, essentially, is what they just said. Like,
If that wasn't enough,
he didn't buy a burner, he bought a fucking tracker.
another thing tying him to this location was the fingerprint found on the plastic tarp wrapper,
Mm.
which did, in fact, belong to Doug.
And
This
you
evidence was
bought
damning, to say
gloves.
the least, but
Why
the
then?
prosecution still had one more person to testify against Doug. Their star witness, Ricky Spencer.
Please call your next witness and we'll have him
He'd
sworn in.
slip on a banana peel.
You swear to tell the truth?
Yeah, I swear.
How do you know Mr. Stewart?
I met him on Xbox Live, December of 08.
How often did you play Xbox Live with Mr. Stewart?
Anywhere from 6 to 10 hours.
A day?
Yeah, on a daily basis.
Yeah. Would you say he was your best
Jesus, bro.
Oh, yes. He called us brothers from another mother.
Would you?
Brothers from another mother.
When spring break was on the horizon, Doug made a proposition.
Get a
He
job,
suggested
Doug.
That Ricky should spend his spring break in
Nothing wrong with a 20-year-old playing Xbox a bunch, but that dude's, as a person who's playing games 6 to 8 hours a day, what are you doing?
at Doug's apartment.
We can party, you can drink, and I can help you with your papers.
Ricky went on to describe his trip. For the first few days, everything was normal. They went to Busch Gardens, drank alcohol, and played video games. But on the fourth day, Doug's true intentions were revealed.
He's like, hey, Ricky, I want to tell you something. It's really important. Let me finish before you interrupt me.
Doug confided in Ricky about his rocky relationship with Venus. He characterized her as an abusive mother that jeopardized the well-being of their
I
children.
thought he wasn't legal. You think, I mean, obviously he's bringing alcohol home or has it in the house. Like, not like they're going to, come on, guys.
Children. Something drastic had to be done.
He was telling me that he was going to go kill his wife.
When he was telling you this, what were you thinking?
What's he writing down?
I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Ricky is a snitch.
He said,
Fuck
"This
that
is where I want you
guy.
to come in, Ricky.
No longer brother from another
I
mother.
want you to be my alibi. Just pretend to be me and live in my apartment. I was like, no, dude, I don't want to hear anything about this. And he didn't talk about it for the rest of the day.
When Ricky declined, Doug seemed to take no for an answer and dropped it for the time being. But over the next few days, Doug
So
gave
how did
Ricky
he end
bits
up
of
doing it
information
anyway?
implying that Venus was a liability that had to be dealt with.
How did that make you feel?
I felt bad for him. He was saying, like, if only, someone could be my alibi. I'm like, no, dude, I can't do
Only somebody could let me get away with murder. That would be great.
this.
Although Ricky said no, Doug was persistent.
Like,
he then won
what?
Ricky over by telling a story in which Venus had apparently tried choking one of their daughters.
Ricky, if I wasn't there at that moment, the kid might have died.
He again asked you to help him kill his wife.
Yes.
And what did you say?
I said, okay, dude, I'll be your alibi.
Once Ricky agreed, Doug took him to a nearby park to discuss the do's and don'ts of murdering someone.
He asked me, like, Ricky, if you're trying to kill someone and you don't want any evidence, what do you use? And I told him, well, not a gun because
this is
evidence. And he says,
this is too funny given the amount of evidence on him.
right, not a gun. So what is it? Not a knife because that leaves evidence. And he says, right, not a knife. So what is it? Doug said,
no, it doesn't.
Somebody.
After a quick glance to make sure that nobody was watching, Doug placed Ricky in a military chokehold.
He puts me down. And I'm like out of breath. He says that if you do that to somebody for 10 seconds, they pass out. If you do it for 30 seconds, they're no longer alive.
No.
Over the remaining days of spring break, they fleshed out their game plan.
1, choking leaves more evidence. 2, asphyxiation takes minutes.
He then went back to Delaware to wait for
It's a very long process.
On April 15th, 2010. They met up at a gas station in Bethesda, Maryland, where Doug gave Ricky several items, including his clothing, cell phone, keys, and a credit card.
What's that a photograph of?
This is the parking space area where I met with Doug Stewart.
Where did you go?
I went.
He's writing down shit again.
Virginia.
Where did Doug tell you he was going?
To Michigan.
What you writing down, Doug?
What was he gonna do there?
You're getting fingered as a murderer right now.
His wife, but he said to take care of business.
I am so sad. My best friend's betraying me. I'm such a chud.
Ricky drove to Virginia, buying Wendy's with Doug's credit card along the way before arriving at Doug's apartment.
Why did he want you to use the credit card there?
To make it look like that he was in Virginia.
Like hands it to the judge. He's like, "Hey, give this to him."
He was pulled over on his way to Michigan for weaving lanes.
And he said, "Hey, dude, it's done. I killed her and her dad." I was like, "Wait, what?" And he says, "No, I'm just kidding." I told him that wasn't funny.
So he said he was kidding, and you told him it wasn't funny?
Yeah. And he said, the plan's off, and I was relieved to hear it.
Despite this hiccup, Doug was still laser focused on his goal and made that clear to Ricky.
Hey, Ricky, I want to try doing this again. I told him I didn't want to. It was like a one-time deal, and I didn't want to do it the first time.
In response to Ricky's reluctance, Doug upped the ante. He said that if he couldn't do it discreetly with Ricky's help, he would have no choice but to do it in a more straightforward manner.
He was talking about going in there and killing anyone that was inside the house, besides his kids.
So what did you do next?
I told him, okay, dude, we'll do it again. I'll be your alibi again.
The second attempt began on April 25th, 2010. This time, Ricky called into Doug's work pretending to be a sick Doug.
And I said in a sick voice, like, "Hey, Bobby, this is me, Doug. I'm feeling like, dude, I can't get into work." He said, "All right." So Doug didn't have to come to work on Monday.
At 7 a.m. the next morning, after arriving at Venus's parents' house, Doug called Ricky using the track phone and said,
"Ricky, I want you to leave anywhere from 8 to 8:15. Nothing later."
Following this phone call, Ricky left during his instructed time slot, disguised as Doug.
Do you recognize that photograph?
It's me leaving the apartment on the 26th.
Ricky then went to Wilson & Wilson to make the legal payment.
Just hand her the envelope, say who you are, and tell them that you're in a hurry, and tell them to mail you the receipt.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Then, around 9 a.m., Ricky received another phone call from Doug.
He said, "Okay, dude, it's done." I was kind of shocked to hear that. I said, "What happened?" He said that he called Venus's parents' house in Michigan and said that he was the mailman. He had a package for her, and she came outside, and he jumped out, and he said that there was a scream. She screamed once, and that she tried putting up a fight, but he was able to get in that headlock, and a drop of blood came from her nose. I asked him if it was worth it. He said it was, to protect his kids and give them some type of future.
Oh my God.
He told me that he was gonna call me later because he was gonna go to bury her.
Following this phone call, Doug and Ricky met back up at their secret meeting spot in Bethesda, Maryland, where Ricky had a sudden and scary realization.
I was asking him, hey, dude, are you going to kill me? And he said, no. I said, good, because if you did, that would suck. And then he asked why did I ask that?
Yeah, man, that would
Because,
suck.
I know
yeah.
what you did.
Fortunately for Ricky, Doug's bloodlust seemed to begin and end with Venus. But
yeah, that would be rough,
Doug,
buddy.
Ricky living to tell the tale might be his downfall. The defense would now have to pull out all of the stops in an attempt to discredit Ricky as a key witness.
Oh,
Ricky, your gamer tag is dark boop, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
What's a boop?
It means a bunch of guys.
On top of revealing this inappropriate username, they also implied that Ricky was a liar, citing that he lied to his parents about his
dark
friendship
boob.
with Doug and
No,
his spring break plans.
not.
Did you want them to?
It censored it. I'm assuming, guys. No. I'm not going to explain it. He started describing it. It was at the beginning. I'm not. Nope.
Mr. Stewart.
No.
Why?
One more. Explain. Nope. I'll let him talk. I'll let him say it one more time. I'm not going to say it.
In an attempt to discredit Ricky as a key witness.
I'm not going to get in trouble on YouTube.
Ricky, your gamer tag is dark boop, isn't it?
You can read
yes,
lips.
That's correct.
What's a boop?
It means a bunch of guys.
On top of revealing this inappropriate username, they also implied that Ricky was a liar, citing that he lied to his parents about his friendship with Doug. And
that's what it is. That's why they censored it.
Did you want them to know that you were going to visit Mr. Stewart?
No.
Why?
It's when a bunch of cars get their oil over another car.
Go meet up with somebody that you played Xbox Live with who's a lot older than you.
Basically, the defense wanted the jury to see how inconsistent Ricky really was. They hoped to plant the seed that Ricky was a perverted, compulsive liar who made up a story and now needed to save his own skin. To back up this claim, they also reminded the jury that Ricky only testified because he made a plea deal with the prosecution.
Yeah,
this deal
so does
dropped
most
his charge of
people.
Conspiracy to commit murder to a lesser charge of conspiracy to commit manslaughter.
Thank you. So I have your.
With no witnesses called by the defense, it was now time for the closing arguments.
Defense rests. We're ready for closing argument.
The prosecution felt that the evidence spoke for itself and reiterated the main points of their case. On the other hand, the defense claimed that the prosecution was lacking
he's
the
pointing
right
with the pen
evidence to
now.
prove Doug killed Venus. They reminded the jury that without a body, there was, without question, reasonable doubt, and that Doug should be found not guilty.
That's not how reasonable doubt works.
Of that kind, in this case, do you have to demonstrate to you that Venus Stewart is dead?
They argued that if Doug was about to commit a murder, why would he walk around the Van Wert Walmart in high-key Hawaiian shorts, asking for assistance from Walmart employees?
Is he trying to hide?
Because he's a fucking idiot.
He's wearing Hawaiian shorts.
He had a phone ping right next.
Does that sound like somebody who's going to use it in a crime? What evidence have they shown you that a shovel was used in the killing of Venus Stewart? They haven't. They've tried to make you think they have all this evidence, but they don't. And they haven't proved their case. And you have a duty to do. And that's to find Doug Stewart not guilty.
Following a hard-fought legal battle,
What are you, in a fucking movie? Calm down, buddy.
it was time for jury deliberations.
On the record, the People versus Stewart, the jurors indicated they've reached a verdict.
On March 11th, 2011, after only 3 hours, the jury found Doug Stewart guilty of first-degree murder.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
And conspiracy to commit first-degree
That's crazy.
premeditated murder. At his sentencing, Doug continued to maintain his innocence.
I'm innocent. I did not do these crimes.
Regardless of what Doug wanted the court to believe, his conviction was set in stone, and the judge did not go easy on his sentencing.
I wouldn't.
I'm sentencing the defendant to life in the Michigan Department of Corrections.
What the hell are those prison garbs?
He was escorted Michigan Department of
Why is Michigan's prison garbs spearmint colored?
crime.
Evil Where's Waldo?
Corrections without the possibility of parole.
After receiving his sentence, he was escorted to the Saginaw Correctional Facility to serve his time. Ricky, who pled guilty to the lesser charge of conspiracy to commit manslaughter, was sentenced to 1 year in county jail.
Yep.
Authorities say that he helped Doug Stewart kill his wife. This afternoon, Ricky Spencer was sentenced for his crime.
Today's sentencing actually ended with one of Venus Stewart's family members yelling at Ricky Spencer as he walked out of the courtroom, asking Spencer if he would come help them search for Venus Stewart's body. This gives you an idea of how emotional it was here in the courthouse all day. Ricky Spencer spoke actually before he was sentenced. He was choking back tears. He said that this is a nightmare that he can't wake up from. And Venus Stewart's mom, Teresa McComb, also spoke to the judge before Spencer was sentenced. Venus Stewart's family wanted him to get more time in jail than the prosecution's deal that they agreed to, which is no more than a year in county jail.
Well, that's
Despite
a plea
these
deal.
sentences, there was still another chapter of this case that
The
was
body.
unresolved.
We're just going to keep looking.
Bruh.
I know she's out there somewhere, buried. I just hope he would tell us, but I don't think he's going to give up that power.
Not long after Doug's trial, the search for Venus's body was back in full swing.
Going off of cell phone calls Doug Stewart made around the time his wife disappeared, searchers tell us they're focusing their efforts on this circle, a 5-mile radius in Kalamazoo County. But there's still a lot of land to cover, so they've been putting signs up in this area looking for help. But
somebody has been taking them down a couple hours after we put them
Aww.
up. That's why we've been up there three weekends in a row. Why would somebody now take the posters down? We don't understand. We're very confused.
confused but willing to continue, they say, until they find what they're looking for.
The community was perplexed as to who would want to take down Venus's missing posters, until they caught the ones responsible red-handed.
Why are you taking those down? Give them back to me. Give them back.
I wanted to tell you, we saw Doug. He's doing great.
Murdering?
He's better in his life.
Oh, in prison? It does good for him, huh?
He's really sorry about what's happening with the posters, and he hopes you find her.
Oh, that was good.
He did. He said he hopes you find her. And you know what? He said you should actually be putting the pressure on Ricky if you want to find anything.
We went to Doug Stewart's parents' house to ask them what's going on, and for the first time, they broke their silence about the case, their son, and those signs.
Sure, they put up nasty letters, so we took them all down.
The Stewarts gave
Those
us
aren't even
some of the
nasty.
signs they admit they
They're just saying, what?
tore down. There's no law in St. Joseph County about putting up or taking down signs like these. The Stewarts told us they don't object to the search for Venus, but do have a problem with what else is on some of those signs.
We told them, I said, if I knew for a fact that she was dead, I'd be more than willing to go out and help them look or do anything. But I said, where do you want us to look? What do you want us to do?
The Stewarts told us they still can't believe their son was found guilty.
Really?
I see him doing something like this.
Really?
I don't know how he can do something like this, but he...
Buying a shovel, gloves, duct tape, and tarp and asking for lime in a Walmart on the way to her house, being pinged right out miles close to her house near the time of her death. You don't think?
He loved her dearly.
But after a trial and conviction, Venus Stewart's family says that's ridiculous.
There's no doubt at all
Yeah.
in the back of your mind that, Venus isn't,
There's a whole ass guy being like, he told me for weeks he wanted to do it, and I helped him. Like, what?
She wouldn't leave those kids for 2 hours.
What does a 20-year-old kid have to gain from lying about that happening? He gains a year in jail.
Although this family feud was throwing a wrench in the gears, it would take more than a couple of defensive parents to stop the community's search efforts. 7 years passed with no notable progress in finding Venus. Tragically, Larry McComb, Venus's father, died from cancer during this time. Throughout the year of Larry's death, detectives continued to visit Doug in prison. And on one of these routine visits, Doug's demeanor completely changed. He was asked if he was finally ready to come clean, and he responded by saying that hypothetically, he could take the detectives to Venus's body. But he had a list of demands for his cooperation. Among those demands were certain perks.
I want an
including
Xbox.
Being able to teach in prison,
Teach?
joining the K-9 program, and being able to attend his parents' funerals in the future. Oh, and one more thing. An Xbox. The proper authorities agreed to most of these demands, including the Xbox, so a satisfied Doug was now willing to cooperate. Doug led the authorities to the exact location of her body.
What a
He
fucking
wrapped her up in a
dork.
tarp and buried her in a
I miss playing Halo.
area just miles from her parents' home.
It's deep in these woods where Doug Stewart says he buried his wife's
Unreal.
body after murdering her 8 years ago.
Why do you think right here? Because I put a bunch of fallen stumps right here, and that tree looks really tall. It's either there or there.
Okay. He explains with little outward emotion how he picked this location to hide his wife's body. Doug Stewart led police down a 2-track about 20 miles southeast of Kalamazoo. It was 12 miles north of where Venus Stewart was last seen alive. Police later confirmed the remains are those of Venus Stewart.
I mean, it's got to be right here. Yeah. Okay. It's got to be.
While out in the field, Doug sat down for a news interview where he spared no details.
This was single-handedly the worst thing that I could and will ever do in my entire life. I loved her. I couldn't handle it. It got to the point where I thought I was never going to see my children again. I just couldn't see another way out. I can't understand my mindset back then. It was almost like I was on a mission. I did lie in wait. She did come out. I did put her in a choke maneuver. She passed out. I sat there for a minute, maybe two.
Multiple.
Staring at my best friend, passed out in my lap. I didn't have a plan.
Although Doug says he had no plan, he had already plotted her murder and found a plot of dirt in a very remote field.
About to say, you got convicted for first degree. You had a plan.
I batted her arms down.
It's not a good one.
I batted them down with my right hand and I struck her with my left. She didn't hit the ground before I started apologizing, and I almost threw up. There was so much blood. She didn't say anything. She collapsed down to the ground. 20 seconds later, her eyes closed. I didn't know what to do. I can't believe I did what I did. I will never forgive myself.
Over 8 years after Venus's death, she was finally given a proper funeral, buried next to her father. Although this provided some closure, it is likely that those who were close to Venus will never fully heal. As for Doug, he now resides at the Saginaw Correctional Facility and is only allowed to play offline sports games on his Xbox for 30 minutes per day.
Offline sports games? Bro. Loser. Of all things, he's playing fucking Madden or some shit. "30 minutes a day. He plays one match and he's done. What a cornball. What a bitch. What a loser. Stupid ass. You think he's asking for an Xbox Series X right now? Please. The new NBA, the new 2K came out. Shut the hell up. What a video. All right. Another one? Another stay awake video. Killer teen thought murder was a dream. I'm sure.
The footage you are watching was recorded just moments
It's the worst thing I've ever done, but he'll still demand Xbox in exchange for my apparent best friend's body.
The footage you are watching was recorded just moments after 17-year-old Benjamin Elliott brutally stabbed his twin sister while sleepwalking.
Wow, I'll say.
Where's your son? Where's your son? Okay, we got EMS is coming.
The officers follow Ben's dad and discover Ben
Sleepwalking?
desperately trying to save his sister's life.
Dude, get out of the way, bro. Why
After
is
doing
this
chest compressions for about
ain't
10 minutes?
Ain't
EMS
no
finally
way this
arrives
cop's
and
letting him
takes
do
over.
that.
Okay, sir, can we take over? Can you step out? Thank you.
His parents, Michael and Kathy, were sleeping in another room when the stabbing took place, so they had no idea what was going on.
What happened, son? It was a dream. He said it was a dream, honey. What the?
Ben also made this claim about dreaming
Yeah,
moments
I'd
earlier
say.
when he called 911.
Harris County 911. What's
My
the
wife's
location of
calling
your
me.
emergency? I just killed my sister. I thought it was a dream. What's your name?
6 times 7 equals 42.
All right. Sorry about that.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened. I stabbed her. I stabbed her in the neck. I thought it was a dream. Please, I don't want her to die. I'm sorry. How old is she? 17. We're twins. Is she awake? Yes. She's like barely alive.
After noticing that Ben was whispering into the phone, the dispatcher wondered if there was anybody else inside the house.
Is there anyone else there in the house with you? There is. It's my parents, but they're asleep. Okay, I need you to go wake them up. Mom! Dad! What's going on? I can't think. I'm so sorry. You what?
Ben's half-asleep father then rushed into the room and found Megan lying on her bed, covered in blood.
Oh my God!
I could see Megan's face. She was gray and just, I thought that she was gone.
We're going to have to start CPR right now. 1, 2, 3, 4.
As you already saw, EMS took over CPR when they arrived at the house. Officers then placed Ben in handcuffs and escorted him outside.
He said it was a dream, honey. What the? I don't know. I don't know what she's on. It was just a dream, and then it wasn't.
I'm gonna do a search of you real quick, and then I'm gonna put you in the back seat out of this rain, okay?
While Ben waited in the back of a police cruiser, the police were still inside the house trying to console his parents.
CPR in a bed is wild.
Never been anything wrong with him at all.
Although they
I mean,
desperately
no,
wanted
they're not going to
understand
make him
why
move
this
her.
happened, their
They're going to
biggest
do it
concern
right where she
now was
is.
the state of their daughter, Megan.
I just need to see her.
See her.
We can't. No, we can't. We can't have her. Take a picture for me. Let me see something.
Yeah, can we see something?
No, sir.
After being denied any more access to their dying daughter, Michael and Kathy were then forced to exit the house. Shortly after, Megan was pronounced dead. While the forensics unit took over the Elliott household, Ben was taken down to the sheriff's office. His bloody arms and hands were photographed, and his clothes were collected as evidence. He was then taken to an interrogation room for an interview. While he waited for the detective, his demeanor was strangely calm and collected for someone who had just stabbed their sister. However, it is possible that Ben was just in shock after going through such a traumatic event. Detective Freder Munoz eventually arrived, and Ben immediately asked how Megan was doing.
Is she okay? Yeah, last time I know about, she was being checked out by the EMS. She is okay.
At this point, the detective was well aware that Megan was dead, but he's intentionally withholding this information to keep Ben talking.
So what happened, Benjamin?
You ever have like a really realistic nightmare where like just everything feels real, but also at the same time?
Although Ben has never done anything this violent in the past, this wasn't his first sleepwalking episode. In one incident, Ben unconsciously wandered into the bedroom where both of his sisters were sleeping. He then stood in the doorway in a sinister way.
Ben was standing in the doorway, not moving, just kind of staring at us. His eyes were like barely open. And then we told him to go back to bed. And he just turned around and went to bed. We told our parents the next morning, and Ben had no memory at all.
Another time, at a childhood sleepover, his friend found him eating a donut in the middle of the night, completely unconscious.
She would have had to have gone, walked over to the stovetop, opened the box, grabbed the donut, and then walked back to the couch where he was sleeping earlier. Just the sheer confusion on his face, like he genuinely seemed baffled as to how that happened.
Ben tried to describe how he felt during these recurring episodes and explained that he was unaware of what he was doing until waking up. But the detective wasn't buying it. He asked Ben to provide a more detailed play-by-play of the night.
I mean, it's not unheard
before
of.
Ben went to bed, he and his dad were playing a video game, which happened to be called Survive the Nights. His dad noticed that one of the knives in the game looked similar to a knife that he owned in real life, so he told Ben that he could have it.
Now, let me ask you, the knife that you had in your hands, where'd you get it from?
From my dad. He had given it to me that day. I was really enamored with it.
Once everybody went to bed, Ben stayed up late on his phone researching more outdoor survival.
Oh, that dad's never gonna forgive himself.
Right now?
Somewhere at the crime scene.
Ben is claiming that this was all an accident, that he didn't commit a crime, yet he just referred to his house as a crime scene. The detective noted this potential slip-up and listened carefully for others in Ben's timeline of events.
It's a crime either way. What?
After browsing the web for a while, he
That's
fell asleep
nothing.
at around 3:30 a.m.
So you go to sleep. What's the next thing you remember?
The next thing I remember is like the feeling.
It was a
of
stabbing.
Something.
As soon as Ben stabbed Megan, he became aware that he was sleepwalking.
Like, that
and
is a crime
realized what
scene.
he had done.
I was in her room.
He's not even denying what happened. He called 911.
I was panicking.
No.
And I tried to stop bleeding with the pillow that was behind her. I did that.
After about 10 seconds, he realized his efforts weren't working, so he called 911 for help.
So I run in my room and I unplug my phone and I dial 911.
How many times did you stab her?
Just once.
Actually, Ben stabbed Megan not once, but twice. Sleepwalkers almost always have a clouded memory following an episode, so maybe Ben was asleep when he stabbed his sister. But the detective refused to believe this bizarre explanation. He wondered if the twins had any underlying issues that could have motivated Ben to do this.
So how's your relationship with Megan?
Good. She's my twin sister. I'd do anything for her. We're pretty close for siblings.
No rivalry there?
No.
You guys having any recent fights or anything like that?
No.
God damn,
If he
bro.
didn't have issues with Megan, maybe he had a mental illness that caused a violent outburst.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental illnesses?
No.
According to Ben, everything was hunky-dory. He did say that he was struggling with schooling.
I've had some issues with school stuff sometimes.
But his problems at school were pretty minor, and he was clearly optimistic about his academic future.
Bro used hunky-dory.
Mechanical engineering. I'm taking the SAT.
You're not going to take it now, bud.
Friday? No, Saturday.
No, you're not.
2 hours into the interview, the detective finally broke the tragic news about Megan, paying close attention to Ben's reaction.
I'm sorry to bear with Megan did not make it.
The chilling lack of emotion from Ben after being told his twin sister was dead immediately raised red flags for the detective. Although Ben continued to insist that he was asleep and that the stabbing was an accident, his admission to the killing was enough for the police to charge him with Megan's murder.
Hello, I'm Lynn Carey.
I mean, shock affects everybody different.
A 17-year-old girl is dead after police say she was stabbed in her own bed.
The person now facing charges, her twin brother.
Detectives trying to decipher what happened inside this Katy home early this morning. Harris County Sheriff's deputies responded to a 911 call shortly before 5 a.m. Inside, they say they found 17-year-old
You can't really
Megan
take
Elliott
reactions
stabbed
like
multiple
that as
times in her
evidence.
bed. A knife on
People
the
are
ground.
very different in
Twin
how they
brother
react
Benjamin
to
was on top of
everything.
her, performing CPR. But investigators say he is their suspect.
Because siblings are normally very close, and you really have that kind of bond between.
I mean, yeah, like
again,
he's
people
literally, he admitted to it.
Happen.
Like, what? Why is
They
this?
seem to get along, one neighbor told us in Spanish. Just recently, he saw the twin brother pull out an umbrella to help his twin sister stay dry in the rain. How things went from that to a deadly stabbing has the community wondering what went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a curious
Ben pled
reaction,
not guilty
but
and was released on bond after his family posted his $100,000 bail. Meanwhile, the forensics team was processing the evidence from Megan's room. Strangely, there was very little blood spatter where the killing took place, which was unexpected
Holy
considering the
shit,
severity of
no.
Megan's stab wounds. Other than the bed, the only thing that had a substantial amount of blood on it was the pillow that Ben had supposedly used to manage the bleeding. The investigators believed that the only logical explanation was that Ben was covering Megan's head with the pillow at the time of the attack, blocking the blood from getting everywhere. Ben insisted that this was all the result of a bad sleepwalking episode, but even his own attorneys struggled to believe this claim. They wondered if Ben actually had schizophrenia, just like his grandfather. However, after a series of psychological tests, it was clear that Ben wasn't suffering from any psychological issues. So they brought him to a neurologist named Dr. Gerald Simmons, who specializes in sleep disorders. After several tests, his conclusion was that Ben was likely experiencing a parasomnia episode, specifically sleepwalking, when he killed Megan. Ben's defense team hoped that Dr. Simmons' findings would be enough to have the charges dropped.
Nope.
However, the prosecution made
No
it
way.
clear that they were not backing down. And
Not
in
a
April of
chance.
2023,
He's gonna
a
be
grand
found
jury
guilty. There's
indicted
no
Ben
way.
for the first-degree murder of his sister.
Yeah.
The prosecutors offered Ben a plea deal. If he pled guilty to first-degree murder, they would limit his sentence to 30 years in prison. Ben turned down this offer, and on February 18,
no
2025,
way.
3.5 years after Megan's death,
Guilty.
his trial began. In the prosecution's opening statement,
He ain't making
they
it
told
out of
the jury
prison.
that the sleepwalking defense is complete nonsense because Ben's statements contradicted the core
There's
principles of
literally no
sleepwalking.
evidence.
Number one, you have no short-term memory if you're sleepwalking. The prefrontal cortex of your brain is turned off. You don't have memories from the moments leading up to sleepwalking. You don't have a memory of the episode itself.
The next thing I remember is like the feeling of stabbing something.
Number two, you're not dreaming. You can't, because the prefrontal cortex in your brain is switched off.
You ever have like a really realistic nightmare?
And your final principle, confusion upon arousal, disorientation, not knowing where you are sometimes.
I was in her room and I turned on the light and I was panicking and I tried to stop bleeding with the pillow that was behind her.
On top of all of these inconsistencies, they also pointed out that the state of Megan's body suggested she was dead long before Ben called 911.
She's pale.
Pale is pretty damning.
Her lips are turning blue.
That doesn't exactly happen
The only
fast.
person that knows when the offense occurs is the defendant.
They wrapped up their opening presentation by ridiculing Ben's behavior throughout his interactions with the police, saying that this alone was extremely incriminating.
He calls 911 at 4:41. Hello? Hello? I stabbed her with a knife. He's whispering. And you'll see his demeanor in the interview. I'm sorry to tell you this, but Megan has succumbed to her injuries. And the defendant says,
As for the defense, they knew how ridiculous their sleepwalking defense was going to sound to the jury. So they showed the jury that their
Because
claims
his
are
parents
supported
are
by
asleep.
actual
Yeah,
science.
because he's trying to get away with murder.
Is this just some made up baloney as a really creative defense? The answer is absolutely not. During certain parasomnias, in extreme cases, victims have been stabbed with knives.
He's whispering because
or
it's late.
hit with blunt
He's
objects.
trying to get
Ladies and
away
gentlemen,
with
Ben
murder.
was not intentionally and knowingly committing acts against his sister.
They also suggested that Ben wasn't trying to whisper during the 911 call.
Don't
In
justify
reality,
this.
He was in shock and doing everything in his power to save his sister's life.
He's saying things like, "Oh my God,
Don't do
it was a
this.
dream.
Don't
No,
do this.
She's breathing. Please, please, please. I don't want her to die."
He called the police.
Prosecution called.
He's 17. Stabs his sister twice. Realizes the gravity of the situation and looks into how to get out of it. There are plenty of people who call the police when they do their crime. Be so serious right now. He's guilty as shit, guys. Like, what are you talking about? What do you, like, don't justify this because you're getting, like, I understand that some of this might hit home. Some of this might get, like, feel a little ableist, etc., because it's kind of like, yeah, it sort of hits that factor of like, well, certain people just don't respond correctly to some things. Murderers respond just like that plenty, guys. Like, don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean that response means nothing. They're using it means nothing. Okay? There's no science behind this sleepwalking shit. He absolutely did it. He realized the second he started it how fucked up it was, because why wouldn't you? And immediately tried to fix the situation by using some bullshit. How else is he going to get, like, how else would he try to get away with that realistically? Like, come on, guys. Let's not. This is just as ridiculous as a killer trying to act insane for the insanity plea. Like, this is just as stupid.
An assortment of law
and it has nothing to do with any sort of mental condition or neurodivergency.
Footage, crime scene photos, and blood spatter evidence. They slowly introduced their theory that Megan had a pillow over her head at the time of the murder, suggesting that Ben had meticulously thought out a plan to muffle his sister's screams as he killed her. The only state witness that wasn't an expert or law enforcement was Ben's father, Michael. Right off the bat, the prosecution did something that shocked the courtroom.
This is a photo taken from an autopsy.
It was over her face. He's claiming it was over her face to try to stop the bleeding. But it's equally as possible it was over her face when he started to try not to get blood everywhere. And then he was like, oh shit, I stabbed my sister and there's blood everywhere. I should probably do something about this. Or he did it, let her die, and then tried to get away with it by pretending it was so immediate and he didn't know what was happening. Why'd they show the dad? Because he's on the stand. They have to show him. He's one of the people that said she looked gray, first of all.
No further question, John.
The state's decision to force Michael to identify his
Like,
daughter's
he has
dead
to see the
body
evidence.
was reprimanded by many who watched this trial. It's unclear why they couldn't have shown Michael a photo of Megan when she was alive, but some believe that the state simply wanted to torment Michael for supporting his killer son. They rested their case, and it was now the defense's turn. They focused on the state's
I think it's
biggest
a little more
weakness,
nuanced
their
than
lack
that.
of motive. They called several character witnesses to the stand to show that Ben was a consistently good kid, and that his relationship with his sister was loving.
Ever notice that if the sweet kid or the tender kid change into somebody else?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever know Ben to have any violent tendencies towards Megan?
No. The biggest drama they had was like Ben being a know-it-all when they play video games. And I feel like that's pretty regular. Like, it's just a good brother.
They also had multiple people testify to Ben's previous sleepwalking experiences to show that this...
Yeah. You guys do this a lot where, like, you get very emotional about how the prosecution or the defense acts. And I get that, but it's their job. Like, it's their job. Like, they don't have to do some of these things, but they have to do their job. Like, their entire purpose and motivation is to make their side win. So they're doing things to make, like, their side have a better chance. And that may look fucked up and sound fucked up to you, because in reality, a person just saying that or doing that or acting that way is a little fucked up. But when they're trying to justify a murderer to get that murderer lesser charges or free, that's what they have to do because it's their job. You know what I mean?
Wasn't something Ben just made up to get away with murder.
Ben was standing in the doorway, not moving, just kind of staring at us.
He was lying on the couch, his head on the armrest, facing my way, and he was eating donut.
In fact, members of Ben's family testified about their own parasomnia experiences as well, including his great-aunt Martha.
All I know is I came to in the bushes, clutching my dog.
Apparently, sleepwalking was a common parasomnia within the Elliott family. According to Dr. Simmons, this increased the odds of Ben having the same sleep disorder. Dr. Simmons gave an in-depth analysis about the sleep studies he conducted with Ben and explained why he believed Ben was telling the truth. There were two important observations about Ben's sleep
I'm sure that's not biased at all.
The first important observation is that Ben had...
What about the rest of your studies with other people, though? Do those exist? Do those exist, though? Probably not.
Obstructed sleep apnea, which can trigger a sleepwalking episode. However, sleepwalking can only occur in stage N3 of your sleep cycle, which
REM
brings
sleep.
us to observation
Right before
number
REM
2.
sleep.
During Ben's sleep cycle, he entered stage N3 in about 11 minutes, much faster than the average person. This is important because although Ben thought he fell asleep around 3:30 a.m., his phone activity
Quite the
actually
time frame.
stopped at 4:17 a.m., 24 minutes before he called 911. This meant that Ben only had 24 minutes to fall asleep, enter stage N3, and kill his sister. For an average person, this wasn't nearly enough time.
That is
but since Ben entered
very
N3
small.
sleep unusually fast, this theory was totally plausible.
Ridiculous.
What is your opinion about the events that occurred on September 29th of 2021?
Ain't no way.
It was a perfect storm of circumstances.
Ain't no
this
way.
was an event that was a parasomnia.
In the rebuttal phase of the trial, the prosecution had the opportunity to call their own sleep expert to the stand.
If he's fully aware of his
Mark
sleepwalking
Preston.
too, he could
believed
absolutely use
whether or
that.
not the defense's sleepwalking theory was possible, it was irrefutably debunked by Ben's recollection of that night.
I concluded he was not in a sleepwalking state.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Not to mention the recollection to the witness testimonies by his sister and his friend. Both say that he did not recollect it at all, what led up to it or what was happening. So
He had memory. He is said to have
he
come
still
out of the
killed
state.
her. Guys, okay. The important piece, and this happens a lot, right? They're not denying that. They're not denying who killed her, guys. It's not like he's sitting here saying, I didn't do it. He's saying, I did it. Like, that's not what this court case is. This court case is arguing intent. He's pleading not guilty to first-degree murder. The defense is attempting to make it reasonably doubtful that he committed first degree. There's not that he didn't do it. Like, you have to understand the precise argument within a courtroom. Wouldn't it be manslaughter? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not going to change the charge. You can only get charged for, you can't get charged multiple times for the same crime. There's laws against it. It's called double jeopardy. That's not allowed. Like, he's being tried for first degree murder, right? The defense's job is only to make it doubtful that first degree happened. It doesn't, everything else doesn't matter. That's the only thing. It's not whether he did it, it's whether he planned to do it, right? The defense has to justify what he did as an accident to make reasonable doubt happen. So the jury can't, the defense's job is to make it to where the jury can't say for 100% certainty that he planned to do this. That's the only thing they're focused on. Nothing else about this matters. Nothing else about this matters. The type of murder it would be instead, none of it matters. Their goal is to make it reasonably doubtful that it's first degree. That's all that it is. And the prosecution's job is to lay that fact deeper. That's it. It doesn't matter, like, if it ends up being, it's not going to end up being manslaughter. It's not going to end up being whatever. He didn't take a plea deal. So he's either guilty of first degree or not guilty of first degree. He will not be charged a second time. He cannot be charged a second time. Like, this is the court case. It's first degree or not. That's why it's so hard. That's why it's very hard to go for first degree murder. Because you get one attempt. But when you have a phone call of him saying he did it, him at the crime scene, him saying he did it, him describing he did it, the parents saying he did it. Unsure if this is allowed, but can the prosecution try to appeal a not guilty verdict afterwards? Or is that only if the defendant gets a guilty verdict? No. The prosecution can't appeal a nuh-uh. No. Defense can't. So I get what you're saying. When the defense makes appeals, it's not to completely, like, get out of it. It's to appeal specifics of it, not necessarily the whole thing. They can't just be like, I want a do-over. Once again, double jeopardy can't happen. It's illegal. You'll famously know that OJ, after being acquitted of the murder of his wife, which he absolutely did, eventually went on to publish a book called If I Did It. Talking about if he murdered his wife, what he would do. Because they can't charge him for the same crime twice. Or didn't, or couldn't. I mean, he's dead, whatever. So yeah, like, the only focus here is the type, is whether it's first degree or not. Like, and this happens a lot with jury duty, where, like, I can bet a lot of the jurors are sitting here like, damn, like, this dude killed his sister and is already assuming guilt or wanting. This is a hard jury to select, I imagine, because a lot of people are just going to be like, he killed this girl. That's fucking crazy. This guy's guilty. But that's not the argument. That's not the argument being made, unfortunately. It's not a question of whether he did it. It's a question of whether he planned to do it. And that's the argument being made here. There's no other, the factors of if he did it aren't even in the equation, or shouldn't be. But people have a hard time removing that equation because you're a human and personal bias gets in the way all the time. And that's part of the problem. It's hard to be unbiased. Everybody has biases in some way or another, whether intense or not. So
much faster than any sleepwalker could ever do.
After 4 days of testimony, it was time for the closing argument.
Yeah, I'm sure Ben is just an absolutely special sleepwalker. He's just an efficient
and he
one.
Stabbed her in the neck twice. There's no blood spraying in the room. You know why? The only thing soaked in blood is the pillow that he muffled her screams with.
How could a kid who cherishes his sister...
Kind of crazy that she didn't make a sound if she got stabbed and was still sort of alive. Unless something was over her face stopping her from screaming. Yeah, exactly. Like, is the jury allowed to take notes during trial? Yeah. They can't share it amongst each other until deliberation, but they're allowed to keep personal notes and stuff.
Who loves her, who protects her. How could someone commit a crime that heinous unless there was a reasonable explanation?
Mr. Rucker and I have disproven.
Such a good way to put it. Such a good way to put it, because plenty of people think like that. What argument is that? That's 90% of civilization, guys. I can't believe somebody would do this. They did. This is real. Because it's human. Unfortunately, this person is the reality of humanity, as well as we are. It's a great argument. People have a hard time believing people would do shit like this. But it is exactly what people can and would do and have done many a time. Unfortunately, it's what happens. People have a really, really difficult time accepting that reality. They need an explanation. Other than, yeah, humans can do that. And some humans just decide to do that. That's why people think serial killers are so fascinating or so obscure or unfathomable. That's why the idea of a serial killer was denied and thought to be impossible for years and years and years, until people like Dahmer and Bundy and Gein got so much publicity, because nobody wants to imagine a dude just existing for 40 years and then just decide he's going to start killing people randomly and for no reason other than he wanted to. It's really, really difficult for people to accept that. So it's honestly a good argument by the defense, in the sense that, like, people have an awful time thinking about that. They have an awful time considering people just do this shit. There has to be a reason. There has to be a reason. There's no way he would just do that. Yeah, Yahweh. He could just do that. He would. He could just do that every day. You could just do that. That doesn't mean there isn't consequences to it, but unfortunately, you can just do that. It takes one shitty day to be a murderer. One. And everybody's capable of it, unfortunately. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. just factual.
Than what they have tried to sell you. Their narrative of what happened.
The biggest thing that they're hanging their hat on is the lack of motive. While I didn't give you motive, I did show you premeditation. It's no coincidence that...
Yeah, great little anecdote. John Wayne Gacy donated his brain to science, and there's no anomaly. There's nothing. If there was something, it'd be so easy to find out and see people or see it coming. But he literally donated his brain and was like, you won't find anything. He just wanted to do that. He just decided to do that.
The knife he used to kill his sister
Just
was
decided
the very
to
knife he got the day before. They have been protecting him.
Trap and kill
from the get-go.
It is important to never think that you will not or is incapable of doing any wrongdoing.
Children. I get it, but you can't let them get away with it. I want you to look in this courtroom. There are so many people here for Benjamin. There is not one person here for Megan.
I'm going to object to that.
Following this intense battle, Ben gave his mom a hug outside of the court, knowing that it might be his last.
Are you
After
fucking
just 4 hours of
stupid?
deliberation, the jury had reached their
It's the same people.
We, the jury, find the defendant Benjamin David Elliott guilty of murder as charged in the indictment.
Can't believe it.
Signed by the foreman of the jury.
Shocking.
Ben sat emotionless as his guilty verdict was read aloud by the
Almost
judge.
like sleepwalking
His
is
parents were
not
in
a fucking
disbelief
science or
as they
excuse.
watched from the benches. Ben's sentencing took place the next day, on February 25th, 2025. The prosecution pressed the
life in
judge to
prison.
give Ben 40 years in prison, saying that he
Yep.
clearly had no
Maximum
remorse
for
for
sure.
his actions. On the contrary, the defense called
Maximum
Michael's dad
for
to the stand
certain.
once again, trying to convince the judge to hand down the minimum sentence of 5 years.
The argument was made that your son has shown no remorse.
That's
How would you answer that argument?
that is stunningly untrue. He has been frustrated. He's been angry. He's been incredibly sad. He's broken down, literally on the floor screaming.
Now, the
Did
court
I see
has
what happened with Speed? I mean,
a decision on punishment
no.
to make in this case.
I don't really keep up with what he's
Tell the
doing.
judge,
I'm also like also
knowing your
streaming.
daughter, how you think
So
she would want this to play out.
She would want lenience. She would want compassion for Ben.
After taking everything into consideration,
Oh, that's fun.
the judge handed down
Love
Ben's
that.
sentence.
I look at what the jury has told me, and
Sure that wasn't done on
unsolicited,
purpose?
They told me to be lenient with Mr. Elliott. Stand up, Mr. Elliott. Your range of punishment is from 5 years to 99. I sentence you to 15 years in prison.
Benjamin Elliott was sent to the Connolly Unit in Kennedy, Texas, where he will remain until the year 2040.
15 years only is interesting. One of my thoughts about the case, phew. I'm shocked it was only 15 years. I mean, I get it. Young offender. A bit of an interesting one, but also kind of an open and shut one at the same time. I think try to do any other excuse. Besides pseudoscience. Anything else. There is nothing scientific about sleepwalking as of right now in terms of crime. I'm sure there's plenty of research on sleepwalking. But in terms of murder, no. Like saying that you came to and you had a knife in your sister's neck is not. Are you fucking serious? I mean, that's insane. Like, that's ridiculous. There's just no way, dude. Like, you stabbed your sister. Go to jail. I don't know what to say. That's fucking crazy. My guess is he's 17, stupid, just got a knife, wanted to try it, tried it a little too well, went, oh shit, and then tried to get out of it. Because he's a fucking idiot who got a knife and was like, whoa, what if I stab somebody? And was like, my sister's right there.
He probably saw that sleepwalking episode of Criminal Minds and assumed it would work in real life.
He also just had the excuse because plenty of people had told him he sleepwalks. Except once again, like, why do you try it on her throat? Because people have stupidly morbid curiosity. Why do you guys watch this shit? Why do you watch a video? Why do we watch a video together about a dude killing his twin sister? Because you're morbidly curious. Objectively. It's just how it is. The same reason when you drive down the highway and there's an ambulance, everybody slows down. Everyone subconsciously slows down. That's why there's traffic. There's no other reason for traffic on the highway when there's an accident other than people going, what's going on? Because they're curious. Some people are a little too curious. and stupid.
Sneeg, would you ever watch a Rotten Mango video? I think their videos are really good.
I don't know what that is. I think using a sleeping disorder as an excuse to murder is a pretty shitty one. Pretty boneheaded move. Almost like a 17-year-old came up with it.
From watching Crime Time on is a nice plus to my day. Hello.
Almost like a fucking teenager came up with it. I don't know, guys. True crime deep dives. Very respectful to the victims. For sure. That's probably it for today for reacts. I think it's about time I get started gaming with Joe, Chris, and Zeusy. If there's a good video by them, put it in the react suggestions on the Discord, please. By all means. It's time to game with the boys, though. I do have to pee though. I have to pee, and I don't have dinner. Hannah made chicken noodle soup and asked if I wanted it, and I don't. I mean, like, one thing that I don't really like. Please don't attack me. I don't like chicken noodle soup that much, admittedly. I don't know why. It's just not for me. Really? I don't know. I just never like it. I can't deny that it like makes me feel better, because like people feel better after chicken noodle soup for sure. It doesn't, like, I don't like it. It just doesn't work for me personally. I don't know what to say. I would prefer like a broccoli cheddar soup or like a potato soup. Or yeah. I don't know. Anyway,